The Premier League is back this weekend. All starts exclusively on talkSPORT Saturday lunchtime with Liverpool taking on Everton. Reshmin Chowdhury with you, of course, alongside Sam Matterface, the former Liverpool midfielder Ray Houghton, the former Everton striker Kevin Campbell. What a classic lineup that will be for the Merseyside Derby live on talkSPORT. And this game, by the way, I've got a bugbear with this match. We hype this match too much.
Why?
This is probably the worst derby in the Premier League for me.
What?
The Merseyside Derby, consistently a poor football match. Sometimes you get a bit of drama, but the quality is...
Sorry, who do you support?
I'm not blaming Liverpool, to be honest, in that. I mean, it just...
You never answered my question. Who do you support?
Manchester United.
Okay.
What? I think Liverpool are a pretty good team this year. I've got nothing against them, but the match itself, like when you think of the North London Derby, I'm always excited for that one because it always delivers. Even if Tottenham aren't that great or Arsenal aren't playing that well, that match contained within itself will be exciting. There will be drama. And the Merseyside Derby's just not really...
Do you know what? I half know where you're coming from, but clearly you're the outside, looking from the outside coming in.
Yeah.
There must be some people who are not happy with that. I'd love to hear their opinion on what they think.
Listen, if you want to sell the Merseyside Derby on talkSPORT this evening, got it live at the weekend, you be my guest. 03717 223344. Liverpool going to walk this weekend.
Do you know what? I think there's a massive gap between these two right now. Massive. And to be fair to Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, you know, where they were last season, and they've lost their captain, the vice-captain. The midfield has been ripped apart. New midfield has been brought in. So we weren't quite sure. I think Jurgen Klopp even said, I'm not quite sure how far this team can go. So I think they've actually, can't say overachieved, but they've done better than expected. And I genuinely think now, from what we've seen so far, in that midfield, I think will only gel better. Szoboszlai has been superb. McAllister perhaps hasn't quite hit the heights, but that's because I think he's been playing more of a holding midfield, and I think he's better as an 8. So we'll have to see who sort of steps up and takes that holding midfield role. Because I think the one thing they kind of still struggling with is conceding chances. The defence and the protection of the defence is still not quite there. But in terms of the midfield, I think it's an excellent midfield potentially. It's only going to get better. And the attacking department is nothing short of sensational. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Darwin Núñez. I saw him a lot playing for Benfica. I know what he's capable of. And, you know, once he really absolutely, you know, rips it up, then he'll be up there with Haaland. I don't quite think he'll ever be the finisher that Haaland is. But trust me, he's an absolute defender's nightmare. So what I would say is, in terms of Everton's point of view, because this is at Anfield as well, they've got a poor record at Anfield, this is probably the best time to play Liverpool off the back of an international break. We know that Jurgen Klopp doesn't like his Saturday lunchtime kickoffs. He hasn't had them for a couple of weeks. He's got a real question mark as to what he does with his South American contingent, because, you know, they would have travelled a lot over the last few days. We remember the last one, I think it was Wolves, wasn't it, after the last international break, where actually they could have been 2-0 down. Found a way to win, and fair play to them for doing that. But McAllister got brought off at half-time. So I think there's question marks there. Andy Robertson, of course, isn't going to be playing. Listen, I still fancy Liverpool win.
I thought you were going to say it. I thought he's giving it the build-up. He's backing Everton here.
No, I still fancy Liverpool win and pretty comfortable. But what I would say is I think it's the best time to play them.
I don't know if there's ever going to be a good time to play Liverpool. In the kind of form that they've been in, but also just the issues that have been going on at Everton. I heard Sean Dyche the other day saying, I could write a book about my time at Burnley. I can write 3 books about my time at Everton already. Wow. You know, it has been a difficult situation. I don't really blame anyone. I think they're putting in the kind of performances that will keep them in the Premier League. But I just think when it comes to this game, there is a gulf, as you mentioned.
I still think they're not out of it. And this is... Again, I say this with the greatest of respect. This is a season, a Premier League season, where you would expect Luton to go down. You would expect Sheffield United to go down. So really, you're just trying to avoid one place. And yet, I still don't see, despite, you know, 2 of the wins out of 3, I don't see Everton being out of the equation as yet. I don't.
Again, a little bit when we talked about the takeover and the money, January will be massive. Is this a club that needs to sell? I don't know how many big assets there are, but there will be some players that clubs are interested in. If they lose their best players, then you're right, they certainly will be in it. But despite the fact they lost against Luton Town at home, to bounce back in the way they did against Bournemouth, the 3-0, it wasn't Bournemouth's best performance, but it was a massive, massive result for them to take into this weekend. I just think that golf is there right now. The dynamism that Liverpool have got back into their team, given their transfers, in terms of the forward line last year, in terms of the midfield this year, it does give them something extra in terms of just, if you like, getting all over the opposition in games. I get it. You're absolutely right in terms of conceding chances. But just that front six makes such a huge difference at this point in time. And goals in midfield is something that Liverpool fans have been calling out for a long time. And Szoboszlai has provided that. Even McAllister's chipped in. I know they're not going to score at this point. Maybe they're not going to hit double figures. But it's enough to keep the scoreboard ticking over and keep the 3 points at the end of the match coming in.
Listen, when they were winning the Champions League, when they were in the Premier League, when they were fighting for the Premier League and also in Champions League finals, the midfielders didn't score a lot. But what they did do is they gave the platform for the front three to really go on and produce. And if they are chipping in a little bit more, which I think they're more than capable of doing, and you've got Darwin Núñez, who's going to be better in his second season. You've got Luis Diaz, who was sensational when he first came in, and then had that horrible injury. I think he's a brilliant player. Again, I saw him for Porto. He was the Portuguese league's best player at that particular time. And then you've got Mo Salah, who obviously Liverpool kept, and he's the one person out of all the players they've got. You think of Jota and Gakpo as well. He's the one who guarantees you goals. He's not only scoring now, he's making assists. So he's really stepping up. And whether it be his last season in the Liverpool shirt, I don't know. But what I would say is going forward now with the midfield they've got and that sort of 5 players that he can rotate, whether it be injuries or form or making substitutions if they're chasing a game, boy, they've kind of got it all. So it's a little bit scary for Everton, I have to say. What I would say is you talk about sellable assets. James Garner, the one that sort of... I loved his goal against Bournemouth. I thought his sort of body language was saying, I'm going to go on and score this goal. The way they sort of pressed. Big loss for Bournemouth. A big win for Everton after that defeat against Luton. But even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I mean, if he stays fit, they stay up. Simple as that. But will he stay fit? And no one's going to buy him right now because, the
injury concerns,
he's so far... Absolutely. How many games does he play a season?
Listen, 12:30 kickoff is going to get debated again at the weekend. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp will be asked about it. Liverpool not happy about the number of times they've been scheduled to play in this 12:30 kickoff. Yeah, they feel like, if you like, they're being treated unfairly. But I think it's time. I mean, Jurgen Klopp has had this argument previously, and he surely now, after so many years in this country, must understand. By the way, it wasn't us at talkSPORT. It wasn't us at talkSPORT, all right? Just before you call in, it wasn't us who decided to put the Goodison Derby, the Merseyside Derby, at 12:30.
But he does have a point.
Does he?
I think it's 14 times now that they've been in the Saturday lunchtime, and the next highest is Spurs with 6. How come that's more than double?
Because Liverpool are a huge football club that broadcasters want to put on television.
So Manchester United aren't?
The first pick is usually Manchester United.
Manchester City aren't?
Well, no,
Arsenal
Manchester City don't figure in this at all in terms of fans wanting to watch games, in terms of viewers. Even neutrals aren't really drawn to their matches in the way they're drawn to Liverpool or Manchester United.
By the Arsenal.
way, or Arsenal. Manchester United doing badly, by the way, gets more viewers than Manchester United doing well, and they haven't been that great over the last, 5 or 6 years since Jurgen Klopp's been in this country.
So why is there such a gap?
But Sky will choose Manchester United. It's the most viewers. And usually...
It's not Sky in that slot, is it?
No, it's TNT.
Yeah.
But the first choice doesn't go to them.
No.
The first choice usually goes to Sky. They pay more, they get more games.
They'll go United.
So they will usually go United. Who's there next? And that's really all it is. I hate to say it. There's no bigger...
listen,
conspiracy here.
I'm certainly not
You're just
suggesting...
a popular team. TNT want to show you, and that's what it is.
Look, I think the gap is too big, but what I would say is, look, you're manager of a Liverpool Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in the world. You've got a massive squad. You do have to be able to deal with it, but I just find it a massive gap where it's more than double that Liverpool are picked. If you're saying that United are first, so Liverpool have to be second, and TNT will go with that, then it is what it is, and Jurgen Klopp has to deal with it. I just feel from a footballing point of view what Jurgen Klopp's feeling, because he would love to have that extra day He would love to play on the Sunday, maybe even the Monday night as well. But, you know, his players have been around the world. So he's going to pick a side that actually might not be his first choice 11.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.